Hi, this is Judy with Living Small News, and we're going to continue with the Q post. And we have a picture here, Stronger Together, and that looks like Hillary kissing Robert Byrd. And take a look at this, learn some history before condemning Republicans. 13th Amendment abolished slavery, and it looks like Republicans were 100% supportive of that. And Democrats were 23% supportive. The 15th Amendment, right to vote for all, 100% supportive from Republicans, 0 support from Democrats. 14th Amendment gave citizenship to freed slaves, 94% Republican support and 0% Democrat support. And Obamacare, 0% Republican support, while 86% Democrat support. So, okay, and we have a video. I've already got it open up here. And let's see, I thought I had. Secretary Clinton comments on passing of Robert Byrd. And we saw the pic there. And let's see who Robert Byrd was. Ku Klux Klan member. I guess it's got the whole members, but he was a recruiter of the Klan. And Robert Byrd, he's associated with the Ku Klux Klan. Hillary Clinton kissed by former Klan member Snopes. They're normally a liberal. They give liberal views on their true and falses, but actually a photograph shows Hillary Clinton with former Ku Klux Klan member Robert Byrd, and that actually is true. Okay, so let's hear what Hillary has to say.
Today, our country has lost a true American original, my friend and mentor, Robert C. Byrd. Senator Byrd was a man of surpassing eloquence and nobility.
Okay, I think we get the gist of that video and how she feels about Mr. Byrd. And then we've got Super Predator, bring them to heel, define heel, of a dog followed closely behind its owner. And this is a video that Q wants us to watch. Okay, before we watch this video, just want to African Americans use as super predators, and politic fact says mostly true. For the record, super predator is absolutely a racist term. And The Hill made a comment. Washington Post says Clinton regrets the 1996 remark on super predators. So let's take a look at the part where she mentions the bring them to heel.
The C-SPAN networks bring you long-form public affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
The fourth challenge is to take back our streets from crime, gangs, and drugs. And we have actually been making progress on this count as a nation because of what local law enforcement officials are doing, because of what citizens and neighborhood patrols are doing. We're making some progress. Much of it is related to the initiative called community policing, because we have finally gotten more police officers on the street. That was one of the goals that the President had when he pushed the crime bill that was passed in 1994. He promised 100,000 police. We're moving in that direction, but we can see it already makes a difference, because If we have more police interacting with people, having them on the streets, we can prevent crimes. We can prevent petty crimes from turning into something worse. But we also have to have an organized effort against gangs, just as in a previous generation we had an organized effort against the mob. We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel, and the President has asked the FBI to launch a very concerted effort against gangs everywhere. In addition to that, he has appointed a new drug czar. You probably saw him Tuesday night. He's one of the most distinguished active military generals that we have in our country. He's already proven that he knows how to interdict drugs because of his command of the South American activity on behalf of the United States. But General McCaffrey will make a big difference, and I believe it is now time for all of us to know what we can do individually to be part of this anti-crime, anti-gangs, anti-drug effort. The fifth challenge is to protect the environment.
Okay, I think we get the gist of that video as well. Okay, now we have the last video that we're going to watch. Okay, and this is about Tucker is asking, how did Maxine Waters afford $4.3 million mansion? All right, let's watch.
Well, since we live in a world, excuse me, where pro wrestling references are now the very same thing as violent threats, one wonders what to make of remarks that California Congresswoman and progressive hero Maxine Waters recently made about HUD Secretary Ben Carson. During a speech on Saturday in New Orleans, Waters said that when Carson appears before her congressional committee, quote, "I'm going to take his ass apart," excuse me. Quote, "Carson knows nothing about the mission of HUD," Waters continued. "He doesn't care about people in public housing. He believes that if you are poor, it is your fault, and he doesn't know the difference between an immigrant and a slave," whatever that means. Now, we've mocked Maxine Waters before in this show, but we should take her seriously on this subject. Congresswoman Waters is a confirmed expert on the question of housing, especially her own housing. Consider where she lives, in a 6,000 square foot, $4.3 million mansion in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Now, how'd she afford a place like that after having spent the last 40 years working in government? We'd hate to speculate. How does she keep getting reelected despite not living in her own congressional district? No clue there either. The district Waters actually represents in Congress has the second highest percentage of African-American residents in the state of California. Now, the neighborhood where Waters actually lives is just 6% black, or as she might put it herself if she didn't live there, it's segregated, like 1950s level segregated. And as we mentioned, it's really, really rich. So how did Maxine Waters pull off a housing coup like that? Who knows, but it almost qualifies her to be HUD Secretary herself.
A lot of information that we had to go over, but that's it for me. Y'all have a good night.